Boom. All right. Episode 1. Let's go. Let's do it.
Yo. Super keen, man. Super keen with we come up with this idea. What fucking last week?
Yeah, last week.
But nah, super keen to kind of get into everything and kind of just share the experiences of what it's actually like for somebody trying to better themselves. I know for me and you, in that sort of realm, what we're trying to always be better and do better, but inevitably, we fuck up. But people don't want to show that. People don't want to show the fuck ups on Instagram and YouTube and stuff. So I think it'd be a good way to, I don't know, show the real side of things and kind of share some insights.
That's it. And not only showing those mistakes and talking about them, but like how to move past them and like progress from those, I think is so important as well. So that's really like, I think what this podcast is really going to focus on is like those roadblocks people run into and how to overcome them. Also talking about other stuff around like growth and progression and like all that juicy bits. So I'm super excited, man. No better way to launch this than just start talking about random stuff like this, I think.
100%.
Super important for people to know.
And even like, again, just kind of throw us both under the bus, like even trying to set this up, like the lighting was shit, trying to set the camera up, like I'm in a different room. Like I think I moved around the whole house like 8 times. But just a matter of just starting. And I think that's the number one, dude, coming in from my experience, just like everything has to be perfect, the lighting, the sun has to be, 45-degree angle. No, fuck that shit, man. Like that, honestly, that is the number one detriment to actually wanting to do stuff and achieving stuff, is actually just starting. So I'm glad we've got this ghetto ass set up. Like I'm actually pumped about it. Like it's so good. There's no fancy backdrops and stuff. It's just real straight up kind of perspective and advice from people that kind of sort of know. Hence the name, man. We kind of know what we're talking about, sort of a little bit, probably more than the average. So I think that gives us a little bit of credentials to kind of have opinions on stuff and try advise. But it's just the starting factor, and I'm so glad that we're just able to do it, man. I think it's the number one thing.
Yeah, and I think we're going to be surprised as we go along, like how many people actually listen and just find this stuff useful, right? Because again, like the whole purpose of this podcast is going to be like absolutely no bullshit, no fluff, straight to the juicy bits, like talking about things that people don't talk about, like failure and the roadblocks and the struggles, mistakes you make on the journey of like trying to progress yourself, make yourself better, like all those stuff that people just ignore. It's all like win. Like, look at me, I've got the fancy flashy car and the $1 million home and all this shit. But it's like, fuck that. Like, let's talk about the journey. Let's talk about the process, because people fucking miss that all the time. So that's really what we want to do.
It even goes to, just thought it the other day, like, people, I think, connect more with people that show those sides that they messed up. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, here's this painting, but look at the 5,000, paintings that I threw in the bin because they were shit that I stuffed up here, stuffed up there. It just goes to that example. I don't know if you've seen it, but Ed Sheeran, he was on a TV show, like a live show, and he gets a voice recording of him when he first started singing, and he sounded like shit, and everyone's like, yo, like this guy had no idea how to sing, but look, he's like probably the biggest pop star, like singer ever. But what other artist does that? You find me another artist that shows, this is where I was. I wasn't born with this talent. Like I know a lot of other artists and stuff try to put on this, persona that they're so perfect and so put together. But how'd they get there? How'd they get to that perfect? And that's the thing. That's why I know me and a lot of other people admire the fact that he was able to do that, literally to put his balls on the line. Like, yo, this is what I sounded like. This is how shit I am.
Yeah.
And I think it makes a massive difference when you're able to expose those flaws and show the learnings that you achieve from that.
Oh, fuck, man. Definitely. Like, just think about like the huge disconnect between like people at like level 10 and people at level like 1. There's a huge disconnect because you watch all these people on Instagram or Facebook or wherever the fuck you hang out. You watch all these people like succeeding and doing well, like even pop stars and celebrities, right? They're on like level 20 and you're down here on level 1 thinking you're shit. But really, like they went through the exact same process you have to go to if you want to get to where they are, right? But I think really the biggest thing a lot of people run into is like not knowing where they want to go. Like you think about all these people that are successful, they knew they wanted to go to where they are now, right? But I think a lot of people kind of get lost and stuck in that process of like, I'm at ground zero. Where the fuck do I go? Right. And that's why you see a lot of people just in dead end jobs doing fuck all, like just kind of living paycheck to paycheck, right? Because they don't know where they want to go, right? They're so lost. People are so lost. And that's the biggest thing I think just fucks with society, is like not knowing how to set goals and not knowing what your goals are.
And it makes a massive difference. It's like, how do you expect to get to where you think you want to go if you don't know what you want, or how to get? It's like a never ending cycle of just confusion. It's just one of those things that if you look and you're like, hey, I want to go to the top of that mountain, that's your starting point, because now you know, okay, that's where it is. That's sort of the terrain. This is, the boots I got to put on, and this is how I got to plan it and plot. So it's all about knowing where you want to go. Having this fuzzy, rough bullshit idea of kind of what you want isn't enough, because there's no solid, you can't create a solid plan from something that you don't even understand or know what. I'm even confused trying to explain the confusion, man. Like it's how do you expect to understand what to do if you don't even know what the fuck you want? And it makes a massive difference, even if you just have a picture of the house you want, and where it is. Okay, where's the house? It's in this particular suburb. What's the average income these people make? $1 million a year. Okay, now we understand. Now we understand that we need to make $1 million a year. How do we make $1 million a year? Break that down. How much per month? How much per week? How many contacts we need to create? How many sales calls do we need to make? What business do we need to start? What will generate that amount of money? So it's all well and good to have a picture of a house, but a house is so broad, and there's nothing specific about it. It's how do we get to that? How do you buy a house? You don't buy a house by having it on your wall. You know what I mean? You need to know what the income is, how much the house is worth, how much you need to make, how much you need to borrow from the bank. Like there's so many things you need to actually look into, scale it back. What's the term of it? Chunk. I don't know if it's called chunking or
chunking
is that
goals.
what it's?
Is
that what it's called? Chunking. Yeah. And things. Yeah, I use chunking, but I don't even know what it's fucking called. But that's what it is. At least then it's attainable. It's that okay, that's the ultimate goal. But sitting there looking at a picture of a house isn't going to get you there. It's the process you need to focus on. Okay, I've worked out I need to do 50 sales calls a day. You can't complain if in 1 year's time you don't have the house you want because you haven't done the 50 sales calls, bro. Like you've done 10 over the span of 6 months. But no, you can't get that house. It's too hard,
That's it.
And I think it just comes down to laziness, man. Fuck, I'm just sick of this.
Literally.
I'm actually ashamed to be a part of our generation. It's because we're wired to be lazy fucking bastards, man. Like as harsh as it is, but it's so true. Everyone is glued to their phones, and as cliche as what I'm saying is, and I know like the rolling of eyes, oh yeah, here we go again, but it's so true. How do you expect to achieve something if your level of expectation is that of someone, like you said, on level 20, but you haven't even worked out how to get moving to level 2? You can't jump 20 it doesn't work like that. And it goes to a really good quote. What is it? It's something like, if you were worthy of achieving your dreams, you would have achieved them by now.
Yeah.
So you haven't leveled up, man. You have not leveled
Something
to level 2. Something has to change. It's so imperative of that. You know what I mean? And I'm sure you've experienced that. You have to grow. You have to level up your mindset and your perspective and attitude toward things in order to get it. You know what I mean? It's simple as that.
It. Yeah, literally. And it's like society just fucking pounds you with like thinking short term. Like it's everywhere, man. Like you can't get a house, like you can't buy $1 million home if you're broke tomorrow. It's not going to happen, right? But if you're thinking that short term, you're going to be doomed for the rest of your life. Like you've got to think about, cool, like I want $1 million home. I know that's what I want, right? Well, like what are the steps for me to get there? Like what's a step I can do fucking today that puts me closer to tomorrow, right? And it's like thinking like that, as opposed to like, oh, I want my goals now, like, because we live in a society like that. It's like everything's like next day delivery and like all this fucking shit, right? It's 100%. Everywhere.
and it's completely destroyed our whole like structure of our brain. Like honestly, we're so wired for short-term gratification that I was like that. I'm probably still semi like that. I'm still sort of trying to break out of it, man. Honestly, like I was sitting there thinking, when I was still trying to like run my agency, I was like, 6 months, I'll be, have 10 clients at 2K a month, I'll be good. It's, don't get me wrong, people can do it. Of course you can do it. But if my mindset was still that short-term gratification, it was still that, okay, I can do this, I can do that, I can try force things into the time slots it was a massive clusterfuck. I didn't think, you know what, let's take down the pressure. All right. And some people were really, I think we had a conversation about this last week anyway. Sometimes you need that freaking fire up your ass to do stuff. But it's that I should have been thinking 1 year, 2 years, 2 years time, 24 months to have $20,000 a month in income from business. That's all right. That's good. Now, how many sales calls do I need to make? That's 10 a day. I can do 10 a day. And it's just that gradual step that honestly makes a difference in order to achieve a goal. It all depends on the person. But me personally, trying to cram things in such a short period of time, it doesn't work for me. It's just that things just don't go together. And when it doesn't go together, if you don't get that 10 sales calls because you had a busy day, you're derailed and it's just a massive mess. So I don't know your experience with it. You're probably different, isn't it?
No, 100%. I agree, man. It's like, oh, it's fucked, dude. And especially like being this age as well, I just see so many people like wasting their lives away because they don't know what that next step is. Like they've got these big dreams, big goals, and like they're kind of not really serious about them, right? They're like,
Nah.
it'd be nice, but like I'm comfortable where I'm at. I'm like working my 6 hours a day at my job. I come home, I like watch fucking Netflix for a bit, chill out. Maybe I have a girlfriend, like chilling out with a girlfriend for a while. It's comfortable, right? Like you can handle it. Whereas when you look at like other people who are in like really dire situations, and I'd probably say this is why you look at a lot of successful people and they've had like a really fucking rough background, like a super rough fucking background. Like, oh fuck, I was homeless, I had nothing to my name, I was totally broke, and I'm all of a sudden now a millionaire, right? It's because they had the fucking fire under their ass, right? Like a lot of people don't have that nowadays. Like our generation's so fucking lucky. Like the amount of connection we have with fucking mobile phones and everything, like the amount of like help we have from everyone everywhere at all times is just ridiculous. And like this just sucks our fucking time, man. Like no one's really putting the effort in and the energy in to like progress or get to a goal because they're like, it's comfortable just sitting here watching YouTube and chilling out because that's easy to do,
It's just, it baffles me, man. Don't get me wrong, I'm nowhere near where I want to go.
Oh,
Nowhere
facts,
near,
bro, same.
nowhere near. Like I'm fucking level 1.5, and I'm not even I'm not even close to where I want to go. But the difference is, and again, I think we spoke about this last week, that the awareness is the difference. And even I was telling you how I deleted Instagram 2 years ago. And I was like, I wanted to connect with someone overseas. So I was like, I'll download it and I'll DM him. I caught myself scrolling for like 20, 30 minutes. And there was this little voice just here, just sitting there like, dude, get off. What are you doing? Get off the phone. Like you're glued to this thing, get off. But no, I was still scrolling. Even I was having 2 conversations with myself in my head. And after I snapped out of it, and I was like, yo, I need to get off this shit, turn it off. I deleted the app straight away as soon as I realized, because like, this is a drug and a half. Like my dopamine levels were like the highest it's ever been in like 2 years. I just went off its nut. But I sat there and I laughed to myself because I'm like, you know what? I'm happy because I have that awareness to be like, this is what you're doing. Like you want this, but you're not doing that. It's that, think about like the angel and the devil on your shoulders. You know what I mean? And a lot of people just have that devil. They haven't got the angel yet that says, look, you need to get off. You need to start doing, you need to put the reps in. You missed your gym workout yesterday. Get to the gym, do this, do that. And that's the difference. And I think that's why, even though it's slow and steady steps, but it's consistent. Yeah. And I think that's the biggest difference, is that we follow all these people. And don't get me, I made a video about this a couple of days ago that I'm going to post on my YouTube. That we look up to these people and we think that that's the idea of perfection. But even though that picture was framed to perfection, how many pictures they take to make that one perfect? Their camera roll is probably filled with 50, 60 photos of the exact same thing, but just different angles. Like we look up to this idea of perfection, but we want it tomorrow. You know what I mean? Even I even got caught up on that loop looking at YouTubers that I like, and their videos are so well put together and edited. I'm like, hey, I've got to do that. But then that angel stepped in and said, dude, you got no subs, bro. Like, you need to chill out. Just make the videos. Don't worry about the editing. They have full-time editors. They're making a lot of money through their affiliates and things like that. Just make the video. Don't worry about and that's the difference. I think it's just really taking a step back and realizing that journey to perfection, putting quotes for people that are listening or that are listening on the audio version, that this perfection that we look up to, it's an idea, but it's not real. But you can still strive towards. I still think you can strive toward perfection. Yeah. But it's just taking those consistent steps, which I think some part of our generation's brain lacks. I don't know where it is, where it's doing, if it's just dormant, if it's just sleeping, is it a volcano ready to erupt? I don't know, but you're probably one of the only people that I've met that are the same mentality of, I want to do better. I'm in this position. I'm not happy. Like, I'm grateful for where I am, but I want to do better. And that's a healthy mentality. You don't have to be happy where you are. I think you just have to be grateful. Like, I've got a roof under my head, I've got dinner, I've got this, I've got that, but I want to do better. Exactly. I want to and leveling up with consistency and persistence.
Yeah, exactly, man. That reminds me of a quote actually I saw a while ago. It's like, I'm totally satisfied with where I'm at and I want more, right? That and is like very important. It's not like, oh, I want more. It's like, and I want more. It's like both in the one, you know, you're grateful and satisfied for where you're at, but you also want to get to another level. You also want to progress, right? Because again, like, as human beings, we're naturally like that, you know, but when you get stuck in a rut, it doesn't feel nice. Like, you don't get the nice emotions. It's not nice. You know, it doesn't feel good to feel like you're not going anywhere.
What makes it worse is, a perfect example to that quote you just said is, we are missing the satisfied part of the equation. And when you have these, again, like even vision boards, or you're following these people on Instagram and things like that, and you're seeing this lifestyle, constantly seeing that is only exemplifying the lack you have in your life. So that just comes back to you and you're like, oh my God, everyone on my feed is this, is rich, it's that, it's blah, 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 blah. And you're sitting there thinking, oh, I'm not going to be rich. I'm not going to be, whatever the success is, you know, success can mean a variety of things to a lot of people. But in this instance, you know, talk about money, but not sinking yourself back to earth and looking at this current situation that you have now and being grateful for it and being appreciative. That constantly seeing other people's success is only just going to push you further down, and it's going to be in a rut for a very long time, and it's very difficult to get out of that, especially if you're feeling that you don't have what you deserve. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Oh man, it's huge, you know. And like, I think we expect so much as well for doing so little, like, especially now, like it's ridiculous.
It's a disease and I honestly think social media is the number one cause of, that has its place. Don't get me wrong, all you people are gonna lose your minds over it. I hate it more than I like it, that's for sure, because of the indirect consequences that it has on me. I guarantee you with the same thing, bro. looking at people doing this, wanting more, but you're sitting around looking at people doing more, but you're not doing more, but expecting you should have more, but you're not doing anything. And it's just a cycle of it's a disease. It's a dead set disease. I'm pretty sure a few of the co-creators of like Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that actually came out and said that, like, they're more or less, not exact words, but they regret what they created. Like, they didn't realize the monster that they honestly, and it's true. And they have all these human behaviorists and psychologists and stuff working for them, finding out how to hook people, how to control and manipulate human behavior and the human mind to stick on these devices and these apps. If that's not saying something, like, bro, I can't be the only one, surely.
It's crazy, dude. Yeah, I want to go back to like what you were talking about before. It's like that whole, you know, I'll be happy when, you know, I'm sure people have said that many times.
I say that every day.
I've said that so many times, man. Like, you know, oh, life will be good when I have this. Oh, things will be better when I have that. Like, we need to be more present. I feel like that's the biggest thing that society has forced us to move away from, is like being present, man, being so focused on like being and just being like as is in this moment, you know. It's like torn us away from that and looking too much into the future. And then you've also got like the flip side of it as well, is like looking too far into the past. Like you see a lot of people with like trauma and like attaching too much meaning to the past and their past experiences. Like, yeah, we've all gone through shit, right? But I think when you attach too much meaning to that past, it starts to control your life. It's the same with the future. If you attach too much meaning to like the outcomes you want to have, it becomes really, really bad for you, right? And so I think we all need to like come back to like the present and like being more mindful of our lives and like how we're living. Because when you can call yourself out on that shit, again, it's like you're saying before, with awareness, right? That's the big difference. And that's what I like. If there's one thing I want anyone to get from like these podcast episodes as we go through, is like, it's just awareness, right? I don't care if this changes your life or that you start becoming better or you go to the gym more because of this podcast. I don't give a fuck about that. I give a fuck that you have more awareness and you know the shit that's going on behind the scenes in your mind, in your own head, but also out there in society, right? Because that's the biggest roadblocks I see a lot of people running into, is just not having the fucking awareness, right? And I see it everywhere because I can't have these types of communication with anyone, right? I have other friends outside of this, and it's like, you can't talk to them on that level, right? They're like, dude, oh, hey,
especially as guys, I'm sure it's guys all over the world, but Australian guys, these are the only topics we actually talk about that at base level, no awareness, basically just typical guy chat. Sports, gambling, drinking, and girls. That's it.
That's it. Facts, bro.
That's it. You find, what's another topic that no one talks about shit. No one talks about anything else but that. If anything, people are at the footy or at sports games, drinking, gambling on the sports that they're at, and talking about girls. That's it.
Literally.
And it's so difficult because, and it even goes back to your point there, that if we can just if we can literally just put that angel on your shoulder.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm not here to be a Tony Robbins, maybe, you know, and fucking change your life. And oh my God, no. If I can just put that little voice in your head or on your shoulder, and you sit there when you're on Instagram being lazy, and you have a conversation with those two voices that you pick to be lazy, I've done my job because I've given you that voice to decide.
Exactly.
It goes back to this Earl Nightingale. Basically, he's like the founder of this personal development stuff. His quote on success was, "Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal." So if you break that down, it's, if a student in uni is studying to be a lawyer and he's studying every day, he's successful. He's just successful as someone that's making $1 billion.
Yeah.
You say that to somebody else, oh no, $1 billion, but that's not his idea of success. His idea of success is to study every day and become a lawyer. That's his success. Their success is the person that wants to be a teacher, that wants to change the lives of, you know, young kids. She's successful. He's successful. So it's getting into that, away from that frame of mind, that, don't get me wrong, my idea of success is having the body that I want, having the mindset that I want, and having the finances that I want. Facts. Yeah. I don't think anyone, that's me. I'll be happy with that. Enough money in the bank. I think we even talked about this the other day, that having more than enough to get the experiences to make you happy, but not so much money and try to make so much money that it actually dampens your life because you have to keep up with this lifestyle of making that more money. So I'll be happy with like 100 billion a year. You know what I mean? Just casual 100 billion. I think that would be a good level for me.
Man, I think you're aiming small there, man.
Yeah, but I think it's just a matter of putting that voice in your head or on your shoulder, whatever analogy or mind you want to use, image you want to use, but just giving you that awareness to decide what you want to do.
Yeah.
Not blindly go through life and just chill and then sit there on your phone and be like, you know what, Nathan, Tom, I'm sitting on my phone right now. I could be going to the gym, but you know, I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to go to the fucking gym.
Yeah.
But hey, at least we gave you that short circuit of bang, this is what I'm doing. You know what I mean? It's, things may change, things may grow. Maybe we want to be a Tony Robbins one day, but at this point in time, if we can just give people awareness as to what they're doing,
that's it.
I think I'm happy with that.
Oh man, that would be fucking intense, dude. Like that's really the goal of this. I feel like, is just giving people that awareness, right? Because here's a fact, right? I'm gonna stand up for this one. This one's important, right?
Yeah.
No, fucking legit though. This one, right? This one quote, to a lot of people will sound very, very negative, right? And if you're not in this like you don't have some of these awareness things we're talking about, this might sound very negative to you, but this is the quote, right? No one is coming to save you. No one is coming to save you. No one's going to come and change your life for you, right? It's up to you and you alone to make those choices, those decisions, and those change your actions, change your habits, change your life, right? It's up to you. No one else. Your mom can't come in there and be like, oh, hey, you're going to need be a better person. It's not going to happen, right? It's up to you to change your life. And I think that's the biggest thing that we need to have awareness of is like in those moments, again, it's like we said, when you're scrolling through Instagram, it's just calling yourself the fuck out, right? Being able to do that, having the awareness to be like, fuck, oh, I'm scrolling. I've been here for like 3 hours now. I should probably go do something. I should read a book or do something that progresses me towards my goal, right? It's like having the awareness to call yourself out on those little things there that make all the difference, right? Because again, it's the compound effect of that. It's not like, hey, I'm going to have success tomorrow if I stop scrolling Instagram right now. It's no, you've done one action that's a little bit better to get you one step closer, right? Because it's you can't go from level 1 to level 20 without going through level 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on, right? And so I was thinking about, okay, what are those little choices that make that impact?
It just goes to literally just reminded me of my jiu-jitsu coach. He always told me that when we're practicing submissions and putting in people in certain locks and things like that, I can't remember the name. We'll probably put in the reference notes or whatever, but there's this, he's class as one of the best Brazilian jiu-jitsu martial artists ever. And he had this philosophy. He said, if there's 5 moves to get someone into submission, I go from 1 to 2, but I never go back to 1. And when I get to stage 2, I go to stage 3, but I never go back to stage 2. When I go to 3, I go to 4, and until I get the submission. So that's how I always look at my goals, is that if it takes 50 moves to get to the body that I want or to create the business, I go from step 1 to 2, but I never go back to 1. I never go back to 1. I'm always, it doesn't matter how long it takes you, because eventually you'll get to where you want to go. But if you keep going from level 2 to level 1, level 2 to level 1, staying at level 1 for ages, then going to level 2 and level 3, but then dropping down to level 1, you need to constantly be, it doesn't matter how slow, but my coach always says, never lose your position.
That's it.
If you've got 1, you fucking stay on 1. You stay on 1 until you can get to 2, but do not risk going to 2 to lose 1, because then you're back at 0, and now they've probably got a better advantage on you. So it's funny how all these things, martial arts and just mindsets, it all kind of blends into one. There's lessons from everywhere that can be applicable to everywhere. And that's kind of what helps me achieve the things that I want to achieve, is just never losing your position, always even just inching your way, like a snail, just slowly moving, but never going back.
That's it. I fucking love that, man. That's a really good analogy to take on. It's like, yeah, that's all it is. It's just the small steps, right? You can't run before you walk, right? Like it's just the progression. And you think about it like this as well, like back to kind of the start of the conversation when we were talking about celebrities, right? They're all the way up there. And what we don't realize is that everyone was fucking born not even being able to speak.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? Like, we all had the same like birth, right? Again, there's like different scenarios. People grow up in like better families, worse families, like better positions, worse positions, right? Of course, that shit's real, right? We can't ignore that. But as a like fundamental, everyone was born with the same fucking like starting point, we all came out as a crying fucking child, not even be able to feed ourselves, and like to think that you can't have the same level of success as anyone in this world is ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense, because you could have whatever you put your mind to, whatever you want to work for. That's literally, that's it.
But I'll tell you the catch on that though. You can't have everything you want overnight.
Yes.
And that's the
exactly.
thing. No shit. You can't become Ed Sheeran tomorrow, bro. You can't even fucking sing now. You know what I mean? That's the thing. It's that missing part. You can't have everything you want tomorrow, but 2 years, fuck yeah, 2 years. Of course you can. Yeah. Of course you can, dude. If you practice sales calls, guitar, mixed martial arts, well, whatever you're into, no shit, you will get there. But like I said, there's this part in the millennial brain that is switched off, that thinks you need to have a Range Rover, a Rolls Royce, a Lamborghini in 6 months. Otherwise, your life is a joke. Yeah. And I even mentioned at the start. That's why I've got this poster here. It's my life, my life in weeks. Every week I count down basically when I'm going to die, and it gives me perspective. I'm like, yo, I'm not even 1/4 through my life, man. Not even 1/4, and every time I color in one of those squares, it's like, shit, it's already, week's gone for so long. Like, you have so much time. Like, dude, to 30, it's a long ass time when you look at it in boxes. You know what I mean?
That's it.
We're missing that component in our brain, that time, and I struggle with that heaps. Like, that's probably one of my biggest downfalls. 100% is the concept of long-term thinking. Definitely wrecked my progress. Again, I've always gone back from step 1 to step 2, then back to 1, stayed at 1, then gone to 0, because I'm like, nah, fuck that, I can't get past stage 2. And I've done that always, and I know everyone's gone through that. But in recent times, probably the last year, maybe 6 months, probably say 6 months easily, that I'm never going back. I'm always up. Even if it's one little bit, I can look back and reflect on the week, and I'm up from last week and then from the week before. So that's all it is. I wish I could put it into words. I wish I could understand it fully. Why, particularly millennials, do the things that we do, and not comprehend that you have time, so much time. And not even, this podcast isn't even just for millennials. Like, it'd be good, because in order to change, society's way of thinking, you need to start with kids, because older people are dying. They're going to die before the young kids. So it's common sense to start with the youngest, and then that uproot, and they'll train their youngest, and blah, blah, blah. But don't worry, we're not here for world domination, guys, yet.
Not yet.
We'll see. But if the time comes, of course I'm going to take it. But, and I don't know what it is, man. It's sad. It's scary to think that a lot of people even don't have that awareness, and it all comes back to that core concept.
And it's cool we get to share this stuff, like, because we're like, I'm 22, man. It's my birthday today. I like to turn 22. Like, how old are you?
22.
22. Yeah, there you go. It's like, we're in our 20s. Like, we're speaking from our experiences of the last few years, like in our 20s. And like, it's we're not here to share like, oh, we're massively successful, let me show you how I did it, kind of thing. That's not,
we don't know shit.
We don't know
your
fucking
life's
anything.
Fucked. My life's fucked. We're a joke. We're actually like, that's why I was even thinking that when we were thinking about the name for this thing, like, we're not wise. We're not Yoda wise, bro. We're kind of.
Facts.
We're little. We're like Yoda's little dick, man. Like, we know a little bit, like we know a little bit about stuff. And it's, if we can even just shed the light on that, there's that awareness that I wouldn't even say we've been given. I think it's just the surrounding ourselves. Like, I know for a fact you're obsessed with this shit. I'm obsessed with this shit. Reading the books, listening to podcasts, watching YouTube videos, doing everything we can to optimize ourselves. I think it just cultivates. I think it grows that muscle in your brain. So when you're not doing something to better yourself, you feel like you're behind. But we don't know shit, by the way. Just put it out there. It's going to be advertised that we do not know nothing about life. A lot. Anyway, we know a little bit. We know a little bit to help some people that are in a worse position, but we're nowhere near where we want to go. And that's the thing. We get to share. We get to share our journey with that.
Two kind of wise guys. That's why it's cool.
Exactly. But it's, other than that, I think I'm pretty sure that's like, we'll covered that. I think hopefully people now know what to kind of expect from us and what we're striving to achieve. Just talking about shit that's going on in real life with real people, with us. Like, I'm going to be, I know for a fact, I'm going to be spilling the beans on the worst things that I do, that I still do. My habits are horrendous. I've got a habit tracker that I haven't filled out in like a month, even though I've sort of been doing the habits. I've been doing them, but haven't been tracking them. But I want to track them so I can progress. So we've all got our downsides with stuff, and I honestly, I can't wait to expose that and show people, look, this is what it's about.
Oh, it's exactly, man. Being like totally vulnerable about everything, like, like having alcohol and drug addictions and like gambling addictions, like all this shit. Like, we'll start talking about this stuff for sure, because like, I've been through some of that stuff. You've probably been through that stuff too. Like, it's relevant to the audience, right? Because we're like mostly trying to target like people who are in like their 20s and just lost, right? Because we're definitely past the stage, I would say, of just being like stuck in a dead end job, like totally dull life. Like we're past that point now, right? And
Well,
so like,
but the difference is though, sorry to interrupt, but the difference is we are one level, half a level ahead.
exactly.
And that's the difference. We're not this bullshit 38 million levels ahead of people where they think, nope, can't get there. It's shit. If Nathan and Tom are just that little bit better, I'll just kind of do that and I'll be a little bit better. And each time they'll just be right behind us. And all of a sudden they look back, yeah, I'm not fucking sitting there on Instagram and that anymore. I'm working out. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And that's the main premise of this.
That's it. Exactly. It's like, I feel like there needs to be more of this, man. Like there's tons of mentors and coaches and shit, but they're all like level 50 trying to coach people at level 1. And it's like, there's no relatability, right? Because that person's got totally different problems to you. But us, we're going through the same shit you guys are going through on this journey, right? And so like, it's really relatable and it's authentic because we're going through the exact same shit and we can reach out to you and like help from that same point.
Dude, what did I say to you? And we're trying to come up with a name for this thing. I do not want the words mentor, guru. No, I don't think I want them in there, man. That's not what we're doing. That's not what we're doing. I banned that. That word's not even gonna be in our vocabulary, man, because it's not even. And half of these fucking dipshits anyway aren't even mentors, man. Like just because you call yourself one, man, that doesn't mean you are.
Yeah,
you know, we're probably the furthest things from that. But if we can advise in a way and give you just that little spark of, oh shit, we just want you to question shit. That's all. That's that. We just want you to. We're not going to give you formulas on how to live your life because, quite frankly, you do whatever the fuck you want.
That's it.
You know what I mean? You do whatever you want to do. I've always said we should have the privilege and the right to do whatever we want as long as it's not impeding or hurting other people.
Facts.
As soon as it hurts other people, bro, we got a problem. If you want to be a heroin addict, go for your life. But if you're not feeding your kids, if you're not looking at, if you're becoming a detriment to people around you, then we need to sort your life out.
Yeah.
But heroin's probably a bit extreme.
Yeah, a bit extreme.
but you get my idea that you should be able to do whatever you want. So
fuck yeah, bro. Life's your creation. Like fuck it. What do you want to create? Answer that question. You have a good life.
But if we can probe you to think, is this what I want? As soon as you start asking like real fucking yogic deep questions about life, as soon as you start asking like, what is the sky? As soon as you start doing that, we're in the right place because you're questioning things. You're becoming aware of things. And that's the ultimate power because I think that enables you to decide what you want to do or decide what you want to try and do. And that's the difference, I think. And that's what I'm fucking super keen to do, man. Super, super keen.
Pumped, dude. I fucking love it. We should probably wrap this up here because I think we've been going for like 40 minutes or so. Don't want to keep this too long because again, like the people we're speaking to have a short fucking attention span.
People don't care about us. All right, they don't care about us yet. But hopefully, we'll begin to grow on you a little bit.
Yeah, we'll win you over.
Yeah, eventually. But I'm super keen, man. Super excited. Pumped to get this first episode out and hopefully, spread the word and get some people on board to, try do differently in life instead of just living the mediocre sort of way things have been kind of shaped for them. So super keen, super pumped. Awesome.
Exactly right, man. Imperfect action with this. We're just like putting this out. You got to start somewhere, right? Like this is probably going to have like 2 people watch it. But if this impacts even just one person in some small way, it's worth it, man.
It makes a difference.
Yeah, that's it. That's it, bro. So yeah, I'll pretty much wrap it up there. Thank you guys for listening. If you did, I don't know who's going to watch it, but sure.
Yeah. Thank you, potential people. Awesome, man. Good to have a chat. Speak to you fucking next week for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Sounds good.
All right. See you guys.